route.
Testing one,
I live about an hour and a half outside of West.
two. Testing. Ooh. Testing one, two, three. Hold on. Testing one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. One.
All right, I got my. Okay. I'm ready when y'all are. Okay. Thank you all for being here. My name is Aaron McCarter, Aviation Accident Investigator with the National Transportation Safety Board. I was launched this Lexington, South Carolina, to be the investigator in charge of the airplane accident that occurred here on County Creek and Winnie Road in Lexington. Today, on February 6th at 9:25 a.m., that's 09:25 a.m. local time, a Cirrus SR-22, registration number November 705 Charlie Delta, that's November 705 CD, impacted trees and terrain off of Windy Road in Lexington, South Carolina, resulting in one fatal injury, who was a passenger. The pilot was seriously injured, was transported to the hospital. The aircraft departed Columbia, South Carolina, airport identifier CAE, approximately 9 o'clock this morning. It was en route to Decatur, Alabama. Shortly after departure, as the airplane was passing through 8,000 feet, mean sea level, the pilot reported engine issues and a subsequent engine failure. The pilot elected to attempt a forced landing at White Plains Airport, about 3,000 feet behind me right here. White Plains Airport identifier is Sierra Charlie 99, that's SC 99. The airplane crashed 1,800 feet short of the runway at SC 99. It impacted trees, resulting in damage to both wingtips, and the airplane tumbled out of control and rolled about 200 feet before coming to rest in an inverted attitude. The airplane did not burn. Currently, the airplane is secured. No on-scene investigation is going to take place until the ballistic parachute system has been disarmed. I have party members from Continental Airlines, Continental Engines, a party member from Cirrus Aircraft Company who will be here in about 30 minutes. He's going to disarm the rocket that propels the parachute, and then we will conduct our on-scene investigation. What we have here is a very small part of a much larger holistic process. Much of the investigation work is going to be conducted behind the scenes after we've recovered the aircraft and have completed our on-scene investigation. I anticipate we'll be here for the next 48 hours working with the aircraft. We have to upright it. I have a team coming from Griffin, Georgia tomorrow morning to assist with the recovery. Once we get the aircraft uprighted in a proper disposition to where we can actually do a thorough examination and determine what happened. We're going to be looking at the human, the machine, and the environment. The man, machine, and the environment, and how all three of those things interact. The human being being the pilot, his qualifications, how many flight hours he had, what kind of experience he had in this particular aircraft, what kind of experience he had in other airplanes, and his licenses and certifications. We'll be looking at the engineering aspect of the airplane. We're paying particular attention to the engine, but also any of the components that help drive the engine, because the pilot did report an engine failure, so we want to get to the bottom of that, and that's where Continental Engines comes in. And of course the environment. Now the weather wasn't a factor. We have beautiful conditions pretty much all day today. It was a little bit breezy, but it was blue skies and sunny. And we're going to be talking to air traffic control, what kind of communication took place, and we're going to be pulling out the official ADS-B data, the radar data, to see what the plot looked like. I would like to give my thanks to the Lexington, South Carolina Sheriff's Office, the County Fire Services, and the Lexington County Coroner's Office. I've had unprecedented great support since I arrived on scene. They've been absolutely fantastic, and I'd like to give them my thanks. Also, my thoughts and prayers go out to the family and the friends of those that were involved in this accident. That being said, I'll go ahead and answer any questions that you may have.
Could you tell us more about the kind of plane, the Cirrus SR-22, parachute?
The SR-72 is a very popular aircraft. It's a high-performance aircraft with fixed landing gear. I couldn't tell you about the horsepower. We get deep into the that aspect, but it's a 4-place or a 5-place aircraft. It's very popular. It's very quick. Matter of fact, the airplane was at 8,000 feet, mean sea level, and we're only about 15 miles from Columbia, South Carolina Airport. So it's a high-performance aircraft. It's very popular. The ballistic parachute system, without getting too in depth, it's a solid rocket motor, or basically a rocket. When a pilot activates the system, the rocket will deploy, pull out the lanyards, knock out the back window panel, and deploy the parachute. Now the parachute has to be deployed at a proper altitude, typically more than 1,000 or 1,500 feet high. In this case, it was not deployed, and the aircraft impacted the trees and the road behind me and tumbled for several hundred feet before it came to rest.
You notice the coroner is still on site. Can you talk a little bit about the process that has to go on now and the dangers?
Yes, the coroner is on site right now. Right now, we are all standing down. Everyone is away from the airplane about 500 feet. That's because the rocket has not been disarmed. The rocket, it's mechanically activated in this particular aircraft, so we have to be very cautious that we don't interfere with the airplane. And once the rocket is disarmed, then we're going to go in and do hands-on examination.
Word on the condition of the individual that's in hospital?
I know that he suffered critical injuries, but last I heard he was stable. I can't go into too much detail about the condition of the pilot, but I just talked to the fire services behind me, and they said the pilot is stable, but he's seriously injured.
What goes into the factor? You talk about checking the engine failure and that sort of thing. What do you guys investigate? What do you factor into what could have led to that engine failure?
Well, I don't want to hypothesize too much about what it could have been. Any number of issues. So that's why it's very much a long process of determining, was the engine producing power? If not, why wasn't it producing power? Did it have fuel? Did it have spark? Did it have air? All the things, because this is a reciprocating engine, very
Right.
similar to the engine in your car.
Right.
It has cylinders and pistons and everything. We need to find out why that engine stopped. We're looking at the fuel system, the ignition system, any components that cause that engine to run. And of course, if there was any kind of catastrophic failure of the engine, but we don't know that yet because of the disposition of the wreckage and how the engine is oriented. Because right now the airplane is upside down. So until we get in there, once the all clear is sounded, then we'll get in there and have a better idea of what potentially caused it. Now, this whole wreckage is going to be transported back to Griffin, Georgia, where we'll do a more thorough examination. I mean, as you guys can see, this is a residential road. We have the entire road shut down. So that's not going to stop us from doing the on-scene portion, but we do want to pay mind that people live down this road. It's the only road that goes in and out of this development. We're not going to rush it, but we are going to try to get the airplane to a separate location to do a thorough investigation without any kind of exterior pressure.
How do you transport it?
The transport company will be here tomorrow. They specialize in aircraft recovery. That's what they do. They do airplane accidents all over the United States. They're going to be here with what I call a half track with a gigantic arm on it. They will have aviation experts who will remove the wings and put it on the back of a flatbed and transport the airplane the approximately 4 hours to Griffin, Georgia. And then we will lay the airplane out on a hangar floor, and that will allow us the opportunity to do something a little more in-depth.
Following the conclusion of the investigation, is it routine for the NTSB to make the records or the conclusion publicly available?
Yes, absolutely. I'll tell you a little bit about the process. So I'll be on scene here, and on scene includes Griffin, Georgia, for about 3 or 4 days doing the on-scene examination. After that is done, I will head back to the Washington, D.C. area, where we will be collating all the factual information that we've discovered on scene, whether or not we need to send the engine to the manufacturer to be more thoroughly examined. I don't know those parts yet. I will have a preliminary report done in the next 10 days. It'll have the information, the factual information that we've discovered on scene during these first few days, air traffic control information, the route of flight, a little bit of information about the pilot, any kind of witness statements, and I'll talk about the witnesses here in a second. And after 10 days, it takes about upwards of 12 to 18 months to finish the factual portion, and then shortly thereafter, a probable cause will be issued by the board members of the NTSB. So from beginning to when the final report and the probable cause is issued is 18 months. And it takes a while because we want to make sure we get it right. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of evidence that has to come together for us to determine what caused the accident.
And are people held responsible if there is, something found wrong? How does that?
It's aviation safety is not punitive in nature, so I don't want to get into who's held responsible. My job is to determine what caused the accident. Okay, so was it maintenance related? Was it pilot related? Was it external factors? That's what we do. In terms of like blame, we don't get into the blame aspect. We just want to find out what happened so we can prevent it from happening again through recommendations, through safety alerts, bulletins, things of that nature. If engineering changes need to be accomplished by the manufacturer, but all of that stuff is hypothesis right now and kind of conjecture. Right now, we just need to get through this factual portion. I have time for 2 more questions. Okay. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.